son of a bitch. Whatever he threw up against that looked like a gun was a gun. Over here is my glove box. I'm looking out the window, and I said, "You're not gonna kill me, you son of a bitch," and I shot him.
The jury in the trial of that man who you just heard speaking has now been deliberating 2 hours and 21 minutes, working right through dinner. A very anxious time. They could come down with a verdict at any minute. Now, I want to go to John Phillips, the attorney for the victim's family. You are right outside the courthouse, inside the building behind you, sir. This jury of 7 women and 5 men, a racially and ethnically diverse jury, is trying to figure out what the truth is, what the right decision is. It's gut-wrenching. I know for me as a journalist, and I've covered so many verdict watches, it's always anxiety-producing, but I can't even begin to imagine what it's like for the family of the dead 17-year-old, the family of Mr. and Mrs. Davis. What are they going through?
It's day 446, Jane, and it's at least it's finally here. We don't know what it is. We feel there's been a lot of prayer. We feel there's been all the evidence. The state tried a great case, and we hope there's a conviction for murder. But there's a lot of prayer, a lot of tears. Ron and Lucy both told me to tell you hello and thank you for your coverage and for your viewers for watching. They appreciate the support.
Well, as they listen to these closing arguments, I mean, people have had wildly different reactions. On our staff alone, we listen to it a little bit and then we debate it, and some people think it's great, some people think it's horrible, some people think the defendant was confident and self-assured, others think he was smug, cocky, and arrogant. Do you feel that there's a possibility, given that you have a very racially diverse and ethnically diverse jury here, that we could have a hung jury?
I don't at this point. You know, as Sonny, I'll echo Sonny's point from earlier. I sat there 2 rows away from the jury and watched jury behavior. And again, that's kind of like watching animals. You can't really tell what they're going to do. They could bite you in at any time. But I watched the jurors, and they were so very receptive to Aaron's methodical closing. And, you know, a little bit turned off by Corey Stroller. There wasn't one note taken, one letter written down. And there was a point where John Guy, who's like the Atticus Finch of my world today, who got down to a whisper, and literally you saw the entire front row lean forward, and they were pretty captivated by this. Now, you never know with Michael Dunn. You know, I'm in the unique position of having already resolved the wrongful death suit with the criminal defendant. Rarely happens. And so I know a lot more about this guy than what America knows or what the jury knows even.
Tell us!
I pray for a conviction.
Oh, tell us, tell us. Yes, I'm sure that there's a lot we don't know about Michael Dunn. And in fact, I have a theory about why he might have been upset that night. And that's because he didn't really have a relationship with his son. He goes to his son's wedding. On the surface, everything's happy. But of course, excuse me, 90% or more of our behavior is guided by our unconscious. And so here he is coming from a wedding of this son that he really has no relationship with. And some kid sasses him. Boy, could that have triggered something that he had been stuffing down, maybe shame, anger at himself or others. He might have been in emotional turmoil and might not have even realized it. And that's one of the theories I have. Simone Bien, quickly, because we got to get back into court, but quickly, your thoughts on that.
I think you are absolutely spot on, Jane. And I also think that a teenager would have triggered, like, the absence, because this is a dad who hasn't seen his son or just 3 times in 15 years. It would have triggered the stage of life that he missed with his son. And I do also think he's so narcissistic that at the wedding, it wasn't enough about him. Now, look at them. What's their anniversary going to be like? Now it all becomes about Michael Dunn.
An attention grab, all subconscious, but was it a grab for attention? If you can't get positive attention, sometimes you take negative. On the other side, we're going to go back into the courtroom for the rebuttal closing.
There's at least 1 firearm and 4 shooters in a car that just threatened to kill me.
4 shooters threatened to kill you? How many of the other shooters had guns?
I don't know, but there's at least 1 gun, and any one of them could have used it.
Oh, okay. So they were going to pass it around?